Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand, Manchester United 2, Leeds 2, and ultimately you're left with that disappointing feeling, but savour it because that's progress. That means we're progressing. The fact that we are disappointed when we haven't played that well, we're 2-0 down at half time, and we come back and win it and get a point, and we're not happy with it, that's progress because that's title progress, that's title mentality. It's a bit of a foreign feeling, you know, it's not something we're used to. That means that we haven't got what we wanted. And when we're third in the league in Ten Hag's first season, where he's not been backed in January, he's got huge issues in relation to players missing and injuries, and we're disappointed, that shows you where the standards are. And I'm sure Eric Ten Hag's going to feel the same. Connor wants to give Fred a number 1. I don't know what one of them is. Wants to give him a 1 in the player ratings. Player ratings, link is in the video description. Mark every player out of 10, 6 being the average. David says Fred made him feel sick, but Ten Hag did well. Pelestri and Sancho did well as well. Look, if we're in a title race, we're not in a title race, and I'm not moaning here. We're not in a title race because the FA cost us the title. I'm not saying we were going to win the title, but if we were in a title race, the FA cost us, because there's one word why we didn't win that game. We drew 2-2 against Leeds, who played really well. If Casemiro was on the pitch, we've won that game. We win that game with Casemiro. And Casemiro's missing 3 games for grabbing somebody by the collar when someone else grabbed Fred by the neck. We don't have anybody anywhere near Casemiro. We just do not. Title's never on anyway, says Sean. Look, we've got to focus on top 4. Forget the title. It would be nice, but every time someone's... the officials were a joke, says Wayne as well. Every time we start talking about the title, we have a bad result. We started talking about the title a few weeks ago. We drew to Palace away and we lost to Arsenal. We start talking about the title and we draw to Leeds. Just stop talking about the title. There's going to be massive challenges this season. Focus on the reality. Focus on the fact. We don't have the squad. We're playing 3 games a week. We've got injuries. We've got suspensions. We're going to drop points. We are going to drop points because we dropped points today because Martial's injured. Anthony's injured. Wan-Bissaka was ill. Casemiro is suspended. Eriksen is injured. You know, we can't, and we've been playing a game every 3.5 days for the last 2 months. It's going to have an impact. Leeds hit us hard at the start of both halves, and they scored. There's a lesson there to the opposition. Get at United in the first 5 minutes because they're a bit sluggish, and we were, and we're going to be. There's almost nothing you can do. You can't be running a marathon in the first 5 minutes of both halves when you're playing a game every 3.5 days. You've got to conserve your energy, and that's what we're trying to do. But Leeds hit us very cleverly in both halves. Bang, bang. 2 goals. And we still came back. We still showed the character. We still could have won the game. But title talk, forget about it. We are 7 points off Arsenal. They've got 2 games in hand. If you can't beat Leeds at home, we will drop more points like that. You know, we will. We've got no midfield playing at all. I thought Sabitzer played really well today. That is not his position. He's new to the Premier League. He's up against a Leeds side that is energetic. McKennie and Adams have played together since they were 12, someone said. They've certainly played together a lot. It's a balanced midfield for Leeds. Our midfield was in balance. Bruno looked a bit on and off it. You know, he's playing so much football. I don't know how he does it. Rashford the same. You know, it's a real big ask, and I think with Casemiro we win that game, but we can't afford not to have our best player, and that's what happened there. Bruno always bottles it when it comes to winning titles. Fred is a championship level player at best, says Abhishek. Surely the lads in the changing room have to have a word with Fred. The guy can't pass a spliff, says Mika. Apparently Fred's left foot is his off foot, says Mike. And Fred's quality costed us dearly. Unlucky moments costed us the game, says Amrit. Look. We've had some big conversations over the last few days. We've had the Mason Greenwood thing. We had Ronaldo a few months ago. We've been talking about whether Qatar should buy us or not this morning. But can I just say, in defence of Fred and any other player you want to have a pop at, what's your point? I don't disagree that Fred played bad. I don't disagree that. I don't disagree that Dalot was rusty. But Wan-Bissaka's ill. So what are you going to do? Dalot's cross for Rashford was brilliant. That made it 2-1. Dalot didn't cost us the game. We were 2-0 down and we got back to 2-2. There's no one else to play at right back. And I like Dalot, but he's rusty and Wan-Bissaka's ill. Fred wasn't very good, but what else are you going to do? Casemiro's suspended, Eriksen's injured, Van der Beek's injured, McTominay's injured. You're going to bring a teenager on who's not even played a Premier League game in Mainu. Fred played badly, but there's nothing on the bench. If you want to blame anybody, blame these prats who are running our football club. Look at the CEO, look at the director of football, look at the bloody owners. We spoke about it months before January. And we spoke about it all January. There are journalists out there who are being fed shit by the club saying, oh, the online fans moaning about the transfer window, and it was a good transfer window in the circumstances. The circumstances are created by the Glazers, so there is no circumstances. There is no defence in the circumstances. The circumstances are the Glazers didn't want to spend any bloody money. That's just selfish. It wasn't a good transfer window. We wouldn't have even bought Sabitzer if Andy Carroll didn't do that tackle on Eriksen. And we still would have been short in the midfield. Sabitzer should have been coming in even if Eriksen was fit. Sabitzer was Eriksen's replacement on the last day of the window. And Weghorst, don't even get me started on that deal. Weghorst, he wanted João Felix, he wanted Gakpo, he got Weghorst, who doesn't even suit us. And he's the replacement for Ronaldo and Cavani. That transfer window is why we're dropping points. The lack of backing for a team... I mean, look, even Ten Hag, he's proved it again tonight. You're 2-0 down, you're knackered, you've got no options, and we still get to 2-2 and could have won the game. That's how great this manager is for Manchester United. But the backing in January has fucked any title race, which we could have got into. And it will probably fuck up the Europa League and any other trophy. Because, I tell you what, if Leeds can do that to us at home on a Wednesday night, what are Newcastle going to do to us with 8 days off in their first final in years when we've just played Thursday night against Barcelona? If you think we're going to be fresh against Newcastle, we're going to be on our bloody knees. And we might have more injuries by then. You want someone to blame, forget blaming Fred, forget blaming Weghorst, forget blaming Delo. Blame the bloody owners, because this season still could be, but really could have been great. And if it isn't great, we dropped 2 points today. 1, the FA for Casemiro, but 2, more importantly, the club for not anticipating that you might need players in when you do get suspensions and injuries. Ten Hag's looking on the bench and he's seeing the youth team. It's not good enough. So when you start having a pop at Fred, yeah, he didn't play well today, but it's a weird one because there's no alternative. You know, you're relying on the performance of a player who is inconsistent. Fred can play really well and then he can play really shit. Why do people not figure this out? You know, it's almost like you can't be honest about Fred. He can be bloody brilliant. He can be absolute shite. That's what he is. He's 29. He's not a young player. He will be that. There's loads of players like this. Harvey Barnes for Leicester. On his day, he's bloody brilliant. Call him up to the England team. On another day, sell him to Leyton Orient. It's the same with Fred. On his day, he's good enough to play for Brazil in the midfield and Man United. On other days, you want to check his passport. That's Fred. He's inconsistent and we caught him on a bad day. But in fairness to him, it's not like he hasn't always been inconsistent. That's on the club again. Because Ten Hag is having to stick Fred on the pitch for 90 minutes because Sabitzer can't play 90 minutes and he's got nobody else. There's no alternative. Voot is a waste of space. Rather Rashi versus striker for a 6 foot forward. His heading and hold up play aren't better. That's Rashford. He's sluggish, says Ben. A year ago, we'd lose that game 3-0. Lots of progress and positivity to take away. I agree. Fred was awful, says Chris, but tonight shows how much work we still have to do to rebuild our squad. I think the disappointing thing is, and Sean says, we showed playing for the shirt is back and we never won due to our manager not being backed with and that's what it's all about. Martinez could have moved to CDM. He did at Ajax as Desmond. I think that's the disappointing thing for the fans, and I'm sure Erik Ten Hag feels the same. We didn't not win that game because Ten Hag got things wrong or the players got things wrong. We didn't win that game because we just had no options to change it. Leeds did have options. Like Leeds had a better bench than us. They didn't have a better team, but their squad was better. They could manage 90 minutes. I mean, they lost 2 players. If we'd lost 2 players like Leeds did in the first 20 minutes, we'd have been screwed because we just can't afford to lose any more players. Leeds have a better balanced squad than we do at the moment. He's got nothing to do behind him. Look, I don't want to labour the point, but when you're playing a game every 3.5 months and you've been doing it for 2 months and you've got injuries and you didn't get backed in the January transfer window, you're going to have games like tonight where you're driving on fumes. You know, you're trying to drive from Manchester to London, but you know you're going to run out of petrol at Oxford. And you're just hoping you're on a hill to roll it there. That's what United are doing at the moment. We're running out of fumes, and we're playing against teams that are fresher than us, and it's hard. It's really hard. I don't know how. Can I just say I do not know how Bruno Fernandes does it, and Marcus Rashford. To be fair, they're the two players that have played the most football, I think, over the last 2 months. You know, even Martinez, Varane, Luke Shaw, the right backs. You know, Fred. You know, the midfield. But Bruno and Rashford, I don't know how they're doing it. I really don't. 8 points from 15 in the last 5 games. It's clear to see we don't have enough depth and players are getting tired. It's going to happen, Bradley. I hate to be right. I think you all hate to be right, but we've spoken about this. We spoke about this in August. We knew this was coming. It's not. There's nobody at Man United that can sit there and go, oh, I wish we'd done something in January. Everybody knew this was going to happen. We're short. We're really short. And Leeds on Sunday would be bloody hard because all they've got to do is do that again with a home crowd. I think Leeds on Sunday is going to be bloody hard. Really hard. And my concern now is, instead of this title race, do you now start looking behind you and going, Spurs are only 4 points off us? You know, I don't want to do that because I think it'd be criminal if we don't get top 4 because we deserve it. But we could miss out on top 4. As much as we could have been in a title race, and it was unlikely, we could also miss out on top 4 because this team's getting tired and the games aren't stopping. The fact this feels like a loss shows progress. Exactly, Ant, it really does. Even with all the injuries, this Man United squad has to beat Leeds at home. No excuse for today, says Jonathan. I think we've just discussed all of the excuses, Jonathan, and I disagree with you there. I'm sorry. I think there's some very big excuses. I don't like excuses, but I think that there are. We look more comfortable with Lindelof as a CDM when he came on. I think he should start, says Ajax God. Look, there's 2 things I'll say before we do the player ratings because it's not all rosy in the garden. The first thing, in hindsight, I think we should have replicated what we do when Casemiro plays. Casemiro as the CDM works really well. And then the number 8, whether it's Eriksen or Fred, they have the licence to push forward. Today, we tried to play with the midfield too. A bit like the McTominay and Fred years, where they basically, symmetry, hold together. And it didn't really work. I think what we should have done, and it might not have worked, but in hindsight, I would have tried it. I would have played Lindelof at CDM, try and be Casemiro. Just protect the back 4, take the ball off the back 4, and then play Sabitzer in the Fred role and give him the Eriksen role, because it didn't work. But look, what else? And I just want to say on Weghorst, at this moment in time, that's not working. I mean, this is what happens when you want João Felix or you want Cody Gakpo and they get you a Burnley player on loan. He's just not that good. He's not that level good. I want him to do well. I actually feel sorry for him when he's sat on the bench and he doesn't look happy. But he's just not good enough. He can't link up the play. He's not quick. He runs around trying to press from the front. That's to his credit. But we knew what Weghorst's strengths were. He'll press from the front and he's good in the box. But we don't give him any service in the box. He goes off, and within 2 minutes we put 2 crosses in the box and Rashford scores a header. I don't get why those crosses aren't coming in when he's on the pitch. I don't know what that's all about. So Weghorst just doesn't work. Why buy a player and then not utilise him? He just doesn't work in the team. He's almost like he's just there to run around. Fred was bad tonight, but he's a good bench option. Sabitzer played well for the second game. Rashi's flying at the moment. Palestri showed promise. Look, Andy Cheatham, before we do the player ratings, welcome to Members Club, the wee lad. I agree when I got the lineups, I looked at the bench and thought we're going to have to be winning at half-time or we're screwed. We did really well, Michael, to come back and get a draw. There was a handball in the build-up to Leeds second. Ten Hag needs to talk about it. It's a clear rule there can't be a handball in build-up. Rashford was disallowed. Similar situation. No one's talking about it. Well, we were talking about it, Sarvish. Welcome to Members Club, Emil. I personally don't think it was enough of a handball in the middle of the pitch to stop that goal. If it had gone the other way around and we got it cancelled, I'd have gone mad. It would have been nice if we'd got the decision, but I didn't think they were going to overturn it. I understand this season is and will get more difficult, but time again, Fred and his passing has annoyed to bits today, especially from the second goal, says Ike. Positive, Jadon Sancho's goal. Great to see that. It's a shame that wasn't the 3-2 goal because I think we'd all be exhilarated and happy, but let's not forget it. I think Sancho came on again. looked good, scored a goal, nice moment. Let's not forget that. And Palestri always does something, you know. There's a lot of people getting on at Garnacho, which I just cannot stand. But, you know, Palestri again as well. He shows bits. Yeah, he did well. Regardless of what new owners come in, that squad needs to get rid of all the passengers, so Stevie J. Leeds used 6 subs because they had a concussion. It's allowed. If you have a concussion, you get an extra sub. That's what happened. So, yeah, if anyone needs any clarity on that, let's do that. Okay, let's do the player ratings. Let's mark every player out of 10, 6 being the average. You know what? It's difficult tonight in relation to David De Gea because I think neither goal are his fault. So it's probably just an average 6 for me. Oh, God. It's going to be one of those, isn't it? It's going to be one of those player ratings. I'm just tell you what, the live chat tonight was a disgrace. I don't know why. I don't know whether it's because it's Leeds. I'm confused. I'm really confused. I've never nearly put the live chat on members only, but that is the worst live chat I've ever had. I don't know what was going on. I don't think it's all rival fans. There was people who are United fans who I know from every show moaning their arse off from the first minute. I can't get my head on it. I cannot get my head on it. And I can't get my head around why David De Gea's performance was below average. I see no justification for that other than people are being negative. And you know what? If you're being negative, sort yourselves out. We're having a bloody good season, beyond expectation season. Where have you been for the last 10 years when we've been absolute horseshit? We are progressing. It's okay to be disappointed when you draw at home to Leeds, but you're disappointed because the standards are going up. I don't get why people are going in on our bloody players like we've just lost 4-0 and we're under Ollie again. We're going places. Why the fuck are people being so down on our team? Where have you been for the last 6 weeks? A coma. We're doing well. We're not achieving because we didn't back our manager in January. We're playing a game every 3.5 days and we've got no bloody bench and the team is knackered. That's the reason. No other reason. The players aren't downing tools. They're not shit. They're doing the best with what they've got. That's it. And so is the manager. If you can't get behind the team in these circumstances, you need to readdress what type of fan you are. Because you certainly didn't exist when we used to play under Sir Alex. Anyway, Delo for me, probably an average 6. Here we go. It's going to be one of those nights. We need to whiz through this. Varane for me, I thought Varane did reasonably well. 6. Oh, for fuck's sake. Martinez, I'd probably give Martinez man of the match. I'd give him a 7.5. 6.8. Disgrace. Absolute disgrace. I'm just coming back here. I'm just going to go onto the BBC website. Yeah. 2-0 down and we drew the game. These fucking player ratings are like we've just lost 3-0. What the fuck is going on with you lot tonight? Bloody hell. I don't get it. I really don't get it. It's like there must be something in the water. Agree there wasn't much in the handball, but a decision was overturned. The inconsistent with United needs to change, says Savish. Calm down, guys. Progress, hated, adored, never ignored, says Danny. And you've said it loads, Mark. It starts and ends at squad depth, says Reb. KP, thanks very much for the super chat. I'm not angry. I'll give my player ratings and I'm comfortable with them. I just do not understand what has gone on with our fan base tonight. I don't get it. It's like I don't get it. I just do not get it. And ultimately, I hate to say this, but I think the people who are being negative, football's not for you. It's not for you. If you can't understand why we didn't win tonight, football's not for you. It's got nothing to do with Ten Hag and it's got nothing to do with the players. It's the circumstances around it that you clearly aren't aware of. I'm really disappointed. Really disappointed. All of this title race talk is just United fans setting themselves up for failure. We don't have the squad to even compete, says Lee. Luke Shaw, probably a 6.5 for me tonight. That's the most accurate one yet. Well done. Completely agree. Sabitzer. Look, it wasn't a great performance, but I don't think it was a bad performance in the circumstances. So I'd probably give him a 6.5. 6 I can live with. Fred tonight, it just wasn't very good. I'm not going to pretend it was good. It just wasn't very good. but there's nobody else. And if I'm going to defend Fred, one game he can be really good, one game he can be really crap. He's 29, he's inconsistent. Some players are like that. Tonight, for me, I'd probably give him a 4.5. Bruno, up and down. I don't know how he plays the games he does. I mean, again, he's got a big part in us getting back into it. He showed the leadership again, which I think has been brilliant. Probably give him a 6.5. Oh, God. Rashford, look, honestly, Rashford was crap tonight. He was really crap, and he got a load of stick for it. But Marcus Rashford doesn't need to play well for 90 minutes. Marcus Rashford needs to score headers like that, which was brilliant. Marcus Rashford needs to be a threat every time he gets the ball, which he does. So I'd probably give Rashford a 6.5. Yeah, I agree with that. He didn't actually play well, but he's a striker. He's a goal scorer, and that's his job. And at the end of the day, did he score a really important goal? Yes, he did. So I'm not having that he played bad. He did what his job is. I'm not going to go down. You're a disgrace. You're an absolute disgrace. I'm not having that. I'm not having that. I'm just not having that. Sorry, I'm not having it. I'm not having it. I don't know when this started to happen. I saw it start to happen with Tahith Chong a few years ago. 18 years of age. 18 years of age from our youth team. 18 years of age from our youth team, and people think it's justifiable to give him 5 out of 10 and start calling him shit and getting on his back. He's 18 years of age. He's from our youth team. Our club is built on youth. And that is because we are patient, mature, educated and understanding. And I am fed up. This is the one that's going to get me. I am fed up of what I've seen on social media tonight against an 18-year-old who is building his career at Man United. I tell you what, it tells you a lot about the age and maturity of the modern football fan, because you were not here when Cristiano Ronaldo or David Beckham or Wayne Rooney or any other teenager started at Manchester United. Because I'm telling you now, the people who remember those players are very happy with what Garnacho is doing, because we've seen it. We know what happens. They can be really exciting, and they can have games like tonight. And the best thing you can do when they have games like tonight is not get on their back, is not be on social media, because ultimately he might see that, it might knock his confidence, and you might fuck his career up for the rest of his career. If you don't understand what you're meant to do with young players at Man United, don't support Man United. You don't start going in on young players. You have to encourage and nurture them. That's what you have to do. That's what supporting your club is about. I don't want to hear Garnacho's not good enough, Garnacho's shit. He's 18 years of age. It's about development. It's about confidence. It's about promoting youth. That's what we're all about. I don't get it. I just do not get it. I do not get it. I will not give Garnacho 5 out of 10. I will not do it. Weghorst, look, I feel sorry for the lad, but I don't know what to give Weghorst. I mean, we don't play to his strengths. He runs around a lot. He didn't miss any. I'm tempted to give him a 6. I don't know why I wouldn't give him a 6, because he's average, and he did what his job is. He didn't get any bloody service. We don't play to. He pressed quite well from the front. I don't remember him doing anything particularly badly. It just doesn't suit our system. But, you know. Palestri, I'd give him a 6.5. Yeah, I mean, again, I think people are just getting low marks. You know what I think some people have done tonight? For some reason, they've got a big boil on their arse. For some reason, they're spoiled. For some reason, they don't get what this club's doing. They don't get why we're in this situation. And they've basically gone through and acted like we've lost 4-0. I don't get it. I'm struggling with it tonight, to be honest. Sancho, probably give him a 7. You know, the goal was good. And, you know, he made a difference when he came on. Malacia, probably a 6, you know. Lindelof, 6. And then Eric Ten Hag tonight. Look, it's difficult. It's difficult with Eric because I thought Garnacho looked very lively and he needs patience. I completely agree, Chris. If Glazers owned a restaurant, they would make a great main dish but serve you crap for dessert, says Runa. Rooney was a baller at 16, says Titus. Rooney still had bad games for Man United, mate. You weren't about. Reese, hi Mark, do you think United drew because the Edward fight that happened, says Reese. Sorry, but I don't get any of this. Why is everyone crying? We beat City. I don't know, Leo. I don't know. It's a weird one. It's a weird one. Look, on Ten Hag tonight, I would liken Ten Hag to this person. He's got no arms. They're tied behind his back. He's got absolutely nowhere to go. Because Casemiro's suspended, he's got no replacement. Fred plays bad, he can't bring anybody on. Weghorst has to start because he's got no one on the bench. He can't start Sancho, so he's got to start Garnacho. Sancho could only play 45 minutes. The low is rusty, he's got to pick him because Wan-Bissaka's ill. The only place he's got any depth is bloody centre-back. And that's not going to help you when you're trying to win games. So I struggle to see what Erik Ten Hag can do tonight, so I'll give him a 7. Oh, for fuck's sake. A 6. Oh, it's idiot day. It really is the day for idiots. How can you give him a 6? We're 2-0 down at half time and we get back to 2-2 and nearly win the bloody game. We would have lost that game last year. We would have lost that game the year before. We'd have lost that game under Mourinho. I don't get it. I feel like I've been in a time warp. I feel like I'm either back 2 years ago and we've lost 4-0, or I'm back 20 years ago and we've just dropped two points at home at Leeds when we should be winning. Like, I don't get where the mindset is. And I agree with JDR. I think the new youth players are unlucky to play in the social media era. What has Ten Hag done wrong tonight? I'd love to know this. I'd love to know this. I've played the game. What has Erik Ten Hag done wrong tonight? He's been a bloody revelation at this football club. You're marking him down when it's everything else around him that's fucking it up. I don't get it. I really don't get that. It's a bloody disgrace. I don't get it. I just do not get that. I don't get most of your player ratings, but you know, all I will say is this. A year ago, we were in a situation where Manchester United were shite. Absolute shite. And, you know, it's the worst ever Man United Premier League side we've ever had. 6 months later, people were talking about a title race. 6 months later, we're in a cup final. 6 months later, we're still in the FA Cup. 6 months later, players that people wanted to be sold are playing absolutely fantastic. 6 months later, we're 2-0 down to Leeds. We get a 2-2 draw at home, and people are acting like we were where we were a year ago. I just don't get it. I really don't. I really don't. Garnacho needs time. Fred needs to be sold, and the club needs a real striker option up front, says Stephen. Yeah, and none of these things are going to happen now. None of these things are going to happen now, are they? Look, I've had it with it tonight. Well done to everybody who made it through the stream. Well done to everyone who made it through the chat. I think we made good points in the main, but for some reason, I don't know what's happened tonight. Across the whole watch along and the match reaction, I just don't get it. And I normally feel like I've got my finger on the pulse of what most people are thinking, even if I disagree. There's some weird shit going on tonight. I don't know what it is. Anyway, look, let's see if it continues on the fan forum. Maybe they think the same as you. We're going live on the fan forum now in the studio. Let's see what Kev and Ricky and everyone else has got to say. I'll speak to you all later. Thanks for watching, and I'm back on the show tomorrow at 10.